Yeah.
What was the 3+1 program you told me about with medical school? Was that with Tennessee or with Clemson?
Or I guess it's actually 3+4, but Tennessee.
Oh, 3+4. Yeah, I don't know what. Well, that's what's on the slide.
That was
So
that was I was working on it late last night. That was a mistake. Wait, is this recording now? Is this gonna be on my car? Should we stop recording and start it again?
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to figure out how to. I started it and then I want to try and stop it now.
If you're watching this in the future, we're close colleagues. We work together. We have a friendly relationship, and it's pretty informal between us. You know, behind the curtain.
Sorry, guys.
If it's on there, it's on there, right? Like
it says record, and I don't know. I'm in Zoom. I'm trying to figure out a way to.
We also have some participants that have joined us. So
there's a couple have come in. So if I'll turn it over to you all. Just a couple of housekeeping things for the participants that are here. You all can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters. We have 4 excellent presenters today. Your camera and microphone are off, so they can't see or hear you. This is one of many sessions that are happening with StriveScan, so be sure to check out their full schedule at strivescan.com/Virginia. The presentation is being recorded, as we've just discussed. It will be available within about a week at that same website, so strivescan.com/Virginia. I am now going to turn it over to our panelists. I'll stop my video, unmute myself, and take it away, guys. Have a great session.
Thanks, friend. Hi, y'all. I'm Matt Wilcox. I'm going to try and share my screen here, and hopefully that's going to work. So everybody keep your fingers crossed. We're having a few more people join us. Y'all see my screen okay now, I hope? Excellent. We're going to have a few more people join us here, but I'm Matt Wilcox. I'm the Regional Admissions Officer for the University of Georgia. I cover Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and West Virginia. I'm coming to you from our office in Delta Hall on Capitol Hill, which is exciting because it's someplace that isn't my home, where I've been working for the last 5 months. We're going to talk to you all about a little bit about what land-grant universities are. Everybody's going to introduce themselves in just a second, but what land-grant universities are, what our mission is, what sort of things you may not know about land-grant universities and what we have in common. Talk a little about our own universities, and then we're going to save some time at the end to go through your questions. So again, there's a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Go ahead and put questions in there, and if they're applicable to just one university, let us know which one. And if they're for everybody, that's great. We're gonna have some time at the end to answer your questions. So I'm gonna, at this point, I don't know, do you guys wanna introduce ourselves just for a second and then we'll move on? Is that the next slide? Okay, cool.
Hey y'all, my name is Amanda Poore. I'm an admissions counselor at Clemson University. So glad to be here with y'all to give you more information, not only about all of us, but obviously about Clemson as well. So I have worked at Clemson for a little over 2 years, and I don't actually cover the Virginia area, but I will provide you with Monica Rosman's information, and she is the counselor for our Virginia students.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Ronnie Chalmers. I represent North Carolina State University, and I've been working there for about 9 years.
Hey guys, my name is Amanda Walk, and I'm a regional representative for the University of Tennessee. I work with students from Virginia, and this is, I've been with UT for about 2.5 years. All right, so many of you are maybe wondering, what is a land-grant institution? Land grants were established in 1862 to focus on the practical teaching of agriculture, sciences, military science, and engineering. So it was actually established by the Morrill Act to kind of be a resource to people in their daily lives and to help them with practical skills that they needed to be successful. There's at least one land-grant institution in every state, as well as Washington, D.C. Since you guys are in Virginia, you're probably most familiar with Virginia Tech, which is the land-grant institution in the state of Virginia. So you will find them all throughout the country. We have very many similarities, but also many differences. But our 3 pillars are teaching, research, and agricultural extension. So many of you are familiar with 4-H and things like that. So our universities are all responsible for helping in the community and providing agricultural resources as well.
So we have a couple of quick facts here about all our universities, and we don't need to go through every number on this screen, but just to illustrate a little bit of how we're similar. So you can see we're big universities, between 20 and 30,000 undergraduates at each of our schools. Generally, that means 16, 17, 18 to 1 student to faculty ratio, which is a good indication of not necessarily what your class sizes are going to be, but you can get that individual attention from instructors. Lots of different majors at our schools. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go through on the number of different things you can study, not just the original idea of a land grant, but the number of things that are available to our students. So you can see there literally, between tens and hundreds of opportunities to study different things at our colleges and university, and then really engaged student bodies. Lots of things going on there. We're going to talk more about community and the way that our students engage with campus, but hundreds of opportunities for clubs and organizations on campus across our different institutions.
So each of us is going to speak on a little bit of what our college environment looks like, the campus, those kinds of things. So as far as Clemson University goes, we are located in Clemson, South Carolina. If you haven't been, I totally encourage you to come visit. We would love to meet you when campus does open back open for tours. But as far as the university itself, we are located in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. We're also situated on Lake Hartwell, which is one of South Carolina lakes. Our college campus is a true college town. So there's tiger paws painted on the roadways. You definitely know when you're getting to Clemson. Downtown Clemson holds a plethora of retail stores. It also has lots of shops or lots of restaurants for our students to eat at, and also off-campus living options. You can get from one side of campus to the other in about 20 minutes leisurely walking. So it's definitely not set in the middle of a city. It's definitely in a more rural area.
So University of Georgia, we're in Athens, Georgia, and I will say I'm really enjoying working with my colleagues. NC State's an easy person for me to work with. Tennessee and Clemson's taken a little bit more effort on all of our part to enjoy each other's company, as y'all can imagine. But we are, and it's super great to work with y'all. We're set in Athens, Georgia. Athens, Georgia is about an hour and a half outside of Atlanta. Another college town, maybe 100,000 people in Athens. Cool music and art scene, neat coffee shops. If I say Athens is hip, I feel like I sound even older than I am, but it's not a bad description of Athens. And literally, so you see the top picture, the left picture there, and the one under it, those are downtown Athens. Downtown Athens is literally across the street from North Campus. So coming up the North Quad from the library, you can come up past the arch, into downtown, grab a cup of coffee, grab lunch, I don't know, go to a record store, whatever it is the young people are doing now. But it's right there. It's a really vibrant place for our students and a fun place to live for a couple of years.
All right, North Carolina State is located just a couple of miles from downtown Raleigh, and Raleigh is the capital of North Carolina. We have a traditional college campus, though. We have about 1.5 million people in the greater Raleigh area, and also we are just a couple of miles from Research Triangle Park, which is one of the largest research parks in the world. So that's where a lot of our students will do research, co-op, or internship while they're in school and even be employed after graduation.
And the University of Tennessee is located in Knoxville, Tennessee. One thing I love about our campus is it's right in the middle of downtown Knoxville, which is a mid-sized city, but the campus is very enclosed within the city. So you kind of get that college town feel when you're on campus, but then you step off campus and you're right in the middle of downtown where there's lots of opportunities for students to do co-ops and internships as well. There's always something fun going on. And then there's also lots of great restaurants and things for our students to do off campus. So Knoxville is about 2 hours from Asheville, North Carolina, about 3 hours from Nashville in the eastern part of the state. So for a lot of students in Virginia, we're actually closer than some of your in-state options.
So there are many degree areas in which our schools are very similar. Many land grants are associated with the degree programs listed on this slide, and all of us do have these majors offered at our institutions. So you can see that within agriculture, animal science, food science, and forestry. Within the sciences, you've got biology, chemistry, and physics. Social sciences host psychology, sociology, and political science. So we all have, this is definitely not the only majors within these realms that we offer, but it's definitely majors that are similar within all of these land-grant institutions. So business, there's many areas within business that you can major in, as well as education and also pre-professional programs. We all also do have pretty unique majors that you may not think that we have as large land-grant institutions. 3 of the ones that I'd like to note at Clemson are our packaging science, PGA golf management, and graphic communications programs. So Clemson offers packaging science, which is just one of the few of those programs that are offered in the United States. Students in this program really study the engineering, design, research behind the packaging industry. So this program blends more of biology, chemistry, and physics, and students are also required to complete a co-op within this program. Moving on to PGA golf management, this is a concentration area within the Parks, Recreation, and Tourism Management degree at Clemson. Students in this major are really looking to pursue a professional or more of a career within PGA. This program does offer a minor in business administration, but students also have the opportunity to double major in both Parks, Recreation, Tourism Management, and Business Management. So lastly, I want to note our graphic communications degree as a unique program at Clemson. This really teaches students the process and thought behind those products you see on the shelf every single day. So it's a really cool program to learn about and be involved in. But this major really prepares students for a variety of career fields to include graphic design, technology, printing, and a lot more than that. Hands-on experience or hands-on learning, is extremely important in this major as students are required to complete at least 2 semesters within industry while they're at Clemson.
And 3 programs I'd like to highlight would be textile technology, paper science, engineering, and meteorology. With textile technology, it is a branch of engineering, but it does apply science and technology to fabrics and fibers. It also covers chemicals and polymers as well. One thing that's really unique about that program at NC State is that we have a lab that we have what we call Pyroman. And Pyroman, we basically put different fibers that we're trying to test the flammability, and we set Pyroman on fire. So it's really a great place for students to learn about research and really apply it to something that is very helpful for people that are trying to keep us safe. So that's really awesome. Also, paper science engineering, thinking about all the different things we use paper for. That's some of the things that are very obvious about paper science engineering, but a lot of parts of your house are made out of some type of paper product. So the paper science engineering, they have a starting salary of about $75,000 per year, entry level, and they have a 100% job placement rate. We also have a meteorology program, and we have the state meteorologist on our campus, but also the National Weather Service has offices on our campus. So again, we have very awesome opportunities within those programs to get hands-on and real-world experience.
Excellent. I think a few of us are part of, and can all talk about this at some point, but the academic common market and some of these unique majors we've chosen because they are part of the academic common market for Virginia. So if you come study these at our school, depending on the school and major, you can have some of your time, you pay in-state tuition for part of the time while you're studying that while you're in the major. For Georgia, that's usually your junior and senior year. And the 3 that we've listed here are all part of that program. Genetics, obviously some great work and increasingly important work on things like our virology lab or infectious diseases lab. Risk management, insurance, some wonderful opportunities for our students going into business that are into that particular niche. One that I want to talk about is scientific illustration, because they do really neat work. If you've ever seen a medical textbook or something where they've illustrated out how muscles work or how veins and arteries work in the body, they explain that sometimes for those textbooks, an illustration can be more helpful to the student. It can be more realistic than photographs, because when you get into cutting people open, unfortunately, it becomes a mess and it's hard to see what's what. And so sometimes an illustration is what you really need to help physicians to learn the different parts of it. We've got one of the only programs in the country that works on that, and it's a really neat thing for our art students who want to get into, maybe combine a science and art interest into a major and then into a career.
Like Matt, the majors that I have listed are also in the academic common market. So if any of these majors are interesting to you, you can actually start in your freshman year at UT in these programs. Nuclear engineering is one of our oldest and most prestigious programs. We have tons of great opportunities for our students in nuclear engineering. There's over 100 nuclear related facilities within 50 miles of Knoxville. And notably, we're also very close to Oak Ridge National Laboratory, which is the largest Department of Energy research facility in the country. So there are tons of opportunities for our students to do research as well as do co-ops and internships at Oak Ridge. We have a great partnership with them. They actually have right now the second largest supercomputer in the world at Oak Ridge. So that's a great partnership that we have at UT. The most popular academic common market major that my students do in Virginia is the supply chain management program. That is one of the top 5 programs in the nation in supply chain, and that is in our Haslam College of Business. So supply chain is basically the study of how things get from producers to consumers. So when you think about companies like Amazon and things like that, there is a huge market for supply chain management, and it's a very specialized degree and has a very high job placement rate. We have a ton of employers that come to campus specifically for our supply chain students. Interior architecture is another one. This is very similar to interior design. Essentially, they study color and space and design and things along those lines. We have a 4-year program, and we also have a 6-year program where you can get a master's in interior architecture. So those are 3 of the unique majors at UT that also just happen to give you in-state tuition because they're not offered in Virginia. So in addition to engineering and science and some of the common majors that people think of when they think of land-grant institutions, our schools also offer a lot of different majors that often aren't kind of thought of when you think of land-grant institutions. Like at Tennessee and at Clemson, we have direct admit nursing programs. We also, some of us have strong programs in music and theater, also in social work, linguistics. So we have a wide variety of majors. So pretty much there's something for everybody at most of our institutions, above and beyond the engineering and science and things that we're usually kind of affiliated with. So definitely check us out if you're interested in some of the humanities or health or things like that, because we have lots of great programs at all of our schools for our students.
So each of our institutions do have opportunities for students to partake and participate in undergraduate research. One of those programs at Clemson is the Creative Inquiry Program, and it's really, really cool because we encourage students to and give students the opportunity to get involved in research and participate in research as early as their freshman year. And you can do that through Creative Inquiry. So it's really a small group learning experience to where whatever you're interested in, there's probably a Creative Inquiry program that would interest you. You get the opportunity to work with students across the college, maybe collaborate with students who you probably wouldn't normally in a normal research setting. You are able to create or go throughout this research throughout your time at Clemson. It's at least a 2-semester commitment. And you also have a faculty member who is your mentor. Obviously, this is a great resume builder. It gives you experience outside of the classroom. It really broadens your experiences as a student, but it also can provide great opportunity to present your findings at national conferences, which our students do. One of the cool findings that one of our Creative Inquiry programs did come about was, if you know, which I'm sure you do, the resealable packages on like the Oreos or Chips Ahoy packages, all of that came from a Creative Inquiry project at Clemson. So we are definitely super proud about that.
And one thing I want to make sure and point out is sometimes when we're thinking about research, we're always thinking about kind of the science side or something like that. And I think one thing that's really important is, even if you are in the humanities, business, or any of those other programs, there's research opportunities for you as well. Specifically for NC State, we have our own research campus. So we have over 100 businesses and government agencies on Centennial Research Campus. There's 75 research centers, and also there's a huge biotechnology facility there that allows you to get different certifications and things like that, but also be involved in research. One research project that I'll talk about is we are constantly evolving synthetic skin. And that's one thing that our students really enjoy, creating things that help people, especially burn victims and things like that, helping them be more comfortable in their everyday life. And I think a lot of the research projects that all of our schools do, they're really meant to, how do we make things better for people? And I think that's really important and solve some of the huge challenges that we have in the world.
So one thing that I want to highlight at UT is probably one of the things that we're most well known for. We are home to the Forensic Anthropology Lab, or better known as the Body Farm. So there is an incredible amount of research that happens on our campus as it relates to essentially the decomposition of bodies. So I have students often ask me if they're, they watch CSI on TV or they want to study forensics. And so UT is one of the best places that you can come for this. The FBI does their training on our campus every summer. And so there is a ton of opportunities for students to engage in research, especially when it comes to forensics. So there are lots of other great research opportunities on our campus as well, in addition to Oak Ridge National Laboratory that I mentioned before. But the Body Farm is one that's usually either really exciting to people or really gross to people. So hopefully this has been somewhat exciting and just gives you just a glimpse into some of the research opportunities that are available.
So I do want to remind our participants that you can continue to ask questions in the Q&A function, and we are going to have a chance to get to some of those at the end here. And I want to echo what my colleague from NC State said about doing research across the board. I think we come up with a lot of science-y examples when we talk about research, because it's easy for us to point to students holding test tubes full of colorful liquids and say like that. But because we're R1 institutions, everybody teaching at our college or university, they're doing research, they're publishing research, and there are opportunities for students to do research in every field we teach in. So if you're interested in history, if you're interested in engineering, if you're interested in business, we are doing research in those things, and you can get into that. The Center for Undergraduate Research Opportunities at the University of Georgia is one of the ways we connect students to those research opportunities, thus the apt name. But it's getting students onto the teams doing the actual research with those people, not shadowing, not this is how we do it, but actually helping out with what they're doing. I met a couple of undergraduates this summer when I was on campus. We have a professor who's working to cure traumatic brain injuries using stem cell therapies. And we met undergrads who are working in that lab, helping with that research. It's outstanding work. The other thing I wanted to point out, I felt terrible because NC State's got their research reactor and UT has, all the atomic stuff there at their lab. And I was like, oh, what do we have? We have the Applied Isotopes Lab at the University of Georgia, the largest radiocarbon dating lab in the United States. And so if you're into archaeology and want to do the science side of that, some really cool chances for our students to get involved.
And one really great perk of all of our schools is with, such large institutions at the undergraduate and graduate level, there's going to be a lot of graduate school opportunities there. And if you're interested in graduate school, you can start some of those courses, especially if you bring in credits from AP, dual enrollment, IB from high school. You potentially could start some of your graduate school courses during your undergraduate time that you are in school. So that's a really amazing perk about these institutions. When looking at vet schools, there are 30 accredited vet schools in the US. And so we'll offer programs that will allow you to get the prerequisites to get into vet school. So things like animal science, zoology, biology, marine sciences, these programs typically are going to give you those prerequisites. And we house really amazing vet schools on our campuses. So if you are interested in going to medical school, dental school, vet school, law school, you're going to have pre-professional programs or partnerships. So with partnerships, there's some type of guarantee. You complete these courses, you have these academic credentials, and then you can go on to the professional school that's not on that particular campus after you graduate. Well, also there's specialized advising. And the specialized advising, so when you're looking at our brochures or our websites, you're not always gonna see the title pre-med or pre-dentistry. But we have courses that will allow you to get into these programs. And what's most important is the specialized advising that helps you get, whether it's research, whether it's specific courses, whether it's assistance with, whether it's some type of test, whether it's the MCAT or other things. we're going to provide those types of supports for you. So you want to make sure and take advantage of that.
No, I would echo exactly some of that. You know, for medical school, often students are going to take one of the biological sciences, biology, cell biology, microbiology, genetics, something like that to meet the requirements to do things like take the MCAT. Law school is a little bit different. And so students do come in the same way they want to do pre-med work, but that's not actually a major. You're going to do one of those other majors. Pre-law is not actually a major. And law schools aren't looking for the same sort of thing that med schools are in that way. That they don't need a specific coursework. They don't need specific track or major for somebody who wants to go into law school. They have a varied interest in people who are going to go into the law. So the real thing that our pre-law advising and then law schools on our campus, the pre-law advising is going to be that guidance on how to set yourself up for success, do the things you need to do to take the LSAT or the GRE, prepare your law school admissions work in order to transition into law school. Again, it's not a major there, but guidance on how to get ready for that. Similar for pharmacy school, number of opportunities for students who want to go into pharmacy. You know, it can be the pharmacy, you know, pharmacist degree, but also you can do a PhD, Master of Science. We have certificate programs. And I think all of us have this dual degree we have in pharmacy, but I think many of us have a 3+2 program, so that students who want to go on to do a master's degree can combine that with undergraduate programs. At Georgia, we have something called Double Dogs, and more than 190 pairings, so you can do 3 years of your undergraduate work. In your 4th year, you transition into your master's degree, and in your 5th year, you finish that master's degree. So it's an accelerated program to can finish your bachelor's and master's degrees together, and really great for students who want to get a jump on that. Many of our schools have that sort of program.
So there are many, many ways for students to be involved at our institutions, and we really, really encourage you to take advantage of the hundreds and hundreds of opportunities that each and every one of our institutions have. ROTC, all of us do have ROTC, and we all have various branches. So I would encourage you, if you are interested in that, to check out our website to see which specific branches that we do have. All of us do offer study abroad, and study abroad is such a great way to really broaden your horizons, be a part of something bigger than what you are, or bigger than, you know, just yourself, and really advance your career, advance yourself as a person to just make yourself better, so you can see what else is out there. I think it's a great way to really learn about different cultures, and put yourself in a different environment. So I know at Clemson specifically, we have degree programs. All of our degree programs do offer study abroad. So definitely check that out from each and every one of our colleges. Experiential learning is that real world experience and learning that you receive outside of the classroom. So like co-ops, internships, and like we mentioned earlier, those research opportunities are great ways to make yourself a better student, a better person, and then, you know, build your resume, and just really prepare yourself for the career field.
I think one thing that is important to highlight is that at our institutions, you are a person and not just a number. One thing that I think we want to emphasize is that you really can have a sense of community on our campuses. I know a lot of times students are concerned that they're going to get lost in the crowd, but there are so many ways that you can make a larger campus feel a little bit smaller. And there's obviously lots of programs on all of our campuses, but we want to highlight some of the things that are maybe similar and some of the things that we share. So in all of our schools, you are required to live on campus as a freshman. That really enhances your experience by living residentially, eating with your friends, walking to class. And so it's definitely a great way to get to know people by living on campus. And you will live on campus at all of our institutions, and also have the opportunity to live on campus as an upperclassman if you want to. One thing that I think is a great way to make a campus feel a little bit smaller is living and learning communities. This is essentially where you live with people that you share a common interest with. Typically, it's going to be around your major. So you will live with the people that you go to classes with. You can study together. You probably have a lot of classes together. So if you oversleep, you have somebody to wake you up. Oftentimes, there's even faculty in some of these communities. And so students that live in living and learning communities typically do better academically, but it's also a great way to kind of make your circle feel a little bit smaller and also have familiar faces around you most of the time. So, you know, there's often communities for students in science and engineering or honors honors colleges, or students that are interested in fitness and wellness. So we all offer a wide variety of these living and learning communities. But again, if you are worried about going to a larger campus, it's a great way to make it feel just a little bit smaller. We also all have a variety of different honors programs. The way that I like to explain honors programs is that it's essentially just an enhanced experience that allows you access to additional resources, whether it's different speaker series on campuses, or library privileges, or grants for research, or additional study abroad opportunities. Our honors programs, again, are a way to make it feel a little bit smaller. You'll take more specialized classes. I think we all have very different programs, but definitely check out honors programs, because it's a good way to just have an enhanced experience and really be in smaller classes a lot of the times. We've talked a couple times about clubs and organizations. All of our institutions have over 500 different clubs and organizations, so there's really probably something for everybody. I think probably at all of our schools, if there's an organization or a club that you're interested in that isn't already there, you can create that club with your friends. I know intramural sports are very popular, as well as club sports. So if you are an athlete in high school and you want to continue at the college level, but not Division I, all of our club teams are going to play other colleges and organizations. So that's a great way to make friends and really get involved. Greek life is also very popular on all of our campuses. Somewhere between 15 to 25% of our students, depending on the institution, are involved in fraternities and sororities. But again, if you're not in fraternity or sorority, there is tons of other things that you can be involved in. A lot of our institutions are also going to offer mentorship programs or other ways to make sure that you have the resources you need, whether it's academic resources or career support. I know something that we have at Tennessee is our Vol Success teams. And so every student is assigned an academic coach, an academic advisor, and a one-stop counselor that follows you throughout the duration of your time at UT. So you always have a familiar face that you can go to. Many of our schools have programs like that, so that you always have a resource and someone that you can reach out to. We also all have great orientation programs and welcome weeks, organization fairs that help you find all the opportunities that are available. So we know that we're larger, and we know that we need to find ways to make you feel more like a person and not just like one of a larger, student body. And something else that I think is really cool is that we all have a lot of really neat and kind of storied traditions. All of our campuses are going to be a little bit different, but one tradition that I like to talk about that's kind of fun with the University of Tennessee is that we are one of the few places in the country where you can sailgate instead of tailgate. Our campus is located right on the Tennessee River, so a lot of our fans, they call themselves the Vol Navy, will bring their boats to the games and sailgate before they head into Neyland Stadium for the games.
One of the other benefits of the larger universities and schools, land grants and public universities, is that we're big. And part of being big is not just that we have engaged, students, that we have a huge amount of school spirit. That school spirit carries over after we graduate. And because we're big, there are a lot of us. So you have a large alumni network. I know that stands to reason tautological, that if there were a lot of us, there are a lot of us. But large alumni networks are neat, because anywhere you go in the country or in the world, you're going to run into alumni from our schools. And as you get into into jobs, you're going to meet more people who also went to your school. And so those connections can really be great in, moving to new places, starting new work, just traveling and meeting other people that also have some of the same experiences you have. So it's neat to run into, I'm sure, volunteers and, the Wolfpack and Georgia Bulldogs when you're in the airport or your other places, or certainly when you're looking for work and maybe somebody else also went to your school. It's great to connect with fellow alumni. And again, because we have large alumni networks, and sometimes our alumni are so into our school, it's a little much. But, it's really great to have that spirit and have it carry over into a lifetime of thought about your school.
So here is a look at our admissions information for this year. You can see that most of us, with the exception of Clemson, we do have early action and that regular deadline. All of us are on multiple application platforms, and then a few of us do have specific applications for the college itself. We have all elected to be test optional for this academic year. And then we all also admit by major, with the exception of University of Georgia. So if you want to reference back to this, feel free to. All of this information is on our website as well, but great information if you are going to be applying this year. So does anybody have any questions? You can put them in the chat. We're happy to answer them.
I know one of the questions we've been getting a lot, and I'm interested to hear what my colleagues have to say on this because it's come up in a number of visits, and I know that some people may want to know about this, is we've gotten questions about what's going on with COVID-19 and this year's class and how that's going to impact what's going on next year. And I think the concern is that we deferred a bunch of students or that students are taking gap years and that so next year will be harder because of that. I know at the University of Georgia that hasn't been the case, that we actually saw a slight increase in number of students on campus this fall. But I have heard that concern from a number of parents and students. I don't know if y'all would like to address that as well.
Yeah, at NC State is similar. We haven't seen that large group of students moving to the next year or even into the spring semester. So I would say less than 1% of our class decided to move to the next term or the one after that.
And that's the same for us. So I think that's kind of one of those misconceptions out there. I think another misconception, and maybe something we can touch on, is I'm hearing a lot of students thinking that larger universities are saying they're test optional, but they don't really mean it. I can speak for UT in that you are still fully considered for admissions, for scholarships, for honors and scholars if you are test optional. So please don't feel like you need a test score. Please don't listen to people that aren't admissions officers telling you that you don't have a chance if you don't have test scores, because I think we can all, hopefully maybe talk about our process a little bit and just that we do have holistic review processes and that you will not be at a disadvantage if you do not have test scores.
And I'll kind of echo that. The same goes for us. You are definitely not at a disadvantage. As long as you meet our priority deadline, you are going to be automatically considered for any and all of those merit or academic-based scholarships. You're going to be fully considered for admission. So please don't worry about that. We completely understand the current situation, the anxiety that you all have. So please know that you are going to be fully considered for admission. So if there's any information, any other information that you would like for us to know about your academic abilities, please make sure that you do provide that with us.
Absolutely the same at the University of Georgia. When we say test optional, we mean test optional. And no students at any disadvantage applying to us without test scores, including for merit and academic scholarships, including applying for the honors program. We genuinely mean we're going to do a whole student review as we've done in years past, but this year we're going to be able to do it without that other bit of information. And we're going to be looking at all the other factors that we look for in students to make sure you're going to be successful students on our campus and good citizens on our campus, the kind of student we want to be our neighbor or our roommate.
I see that we have a question, and it is, do your colleges have double majoring options? So I will start by saying that yes, we do have options for students to double major. They can major in minor. There are tons of opportunities for basically whatever students want to do, though you can only start in one major. So you do have to pick one major and then you can declare a second major later.
And that's the same for us. So yeah, most definitely that's something that's doable. We tell you to meet with your advisor, look at graduation timeline. You most definitely can double major in anything that you want. There are some majors where it may be a little bit tougher as far as graduating on time, but most definitely we completely do encourage our students to do that if that's what you want to do.
And I agree. Same thing at NC State. I would encourage you to think about why you're adding on the second major or minor. And making sure it makes sense, because what we find is that a lot of students come in saying they want a double major or a minor, and it's just they enjoy the other subject area, but they don't have necessarily an application, and that may be fine. You still may want to do it, but for some of those students, they figure out, you know what, let me focus on my major, let me participate in the living learning communities on campus or the clubs and organizations that are associated with this other activity that I originally wanted to double major or minor in.
Yeah, I would echo what my colleagues have said on double majoring. Certainly that's something our students can do. And I think as one of us mentioned, the closer those two things are related to each other, the more overlap you're likely to see in things. So biochemistry and chemistry pair very well together. International affairs and a language pair very nicely together. My wife wanted to do though microbiology and painting, and you can do that. There's not a lot of overlap. The other thing about double majoring for us is you're going to have two academic advisors. So one for each of your majors to help you work through the curriculum for that. And stitching those together can take some work on the part of the student, but absolutely students can double major at University of Georgia.
I'm going to jump in here and put you all on the spot. Could you just share with the prospective students your visit options for the fall, your open house information, and whether your campuses are open for visits or everything is virtual, just in terms of being accessible to these students?
So go ahead, Amanda.
No, sorry. So for Clemson, we are currently, our students are on campus. They have more of a hybrid model course load right now. But as far as visitors go, we are not currently going to have tours at all, in-person tours for the fall semester. Our full hope and plan is to open back up for tours, for in-person tours for the spring semester. However, we do have multiple engagement opportunities. If you look on our website, we actually have a web page for that. We have open office hours through Zoom every single weekday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can meet with an admissions counselor, but there's also a student tour guide within the office hours every single day. So if you just want to go in there and talk to a student to see what it's like to be a student, that's totally fine. It's really informal, but we also have virtual tours multiple times a week throughout the day. Feel free to register for one of those. They're super informal, but very informative. And it's a way for you to connect with a student and really get to hear what it's like to be at Clemson on campus. So that's probably the best way to connect with campus at this time. But we do have college-specific open houses that are going to be hosted virtually this semester as well.
We actually are doing campus tours this fall. They started up a couple weeks ago. They are going to be a lot smaller than in previous years. So if you want to come visit, definitely plan in advance. If you're not comfortable going on a tour, or you're not able to get on a tour, we have a really good self-guided tour. You get a little booklet that'll take you all through campus and will tell you the same stops that you would get on the regular campus tour. And like Amanda, we have a ton of virtual opportunities. If there's nothing good that's come out of COVID, it's that there are so many things online now. You don't even have to leave the comfort of your home to do virtual tours, to meet with students. Some of our colleges are allowing you to sit in on classes. So definitely check out our website, our visit website, and there are a plethora of visit opportunities online.
At NC State, we are not offering tours this fall, but as Amanda said, we have a ton of virtual opportunities, information sessions specific to each of the colleges as well, but also on just general topics to help you with the application process, or just kind of like, just to make you a better person. So we're offering all of that. We also have an open house coming up virtually on October 17th through the 21st. So each evening we'll have different sessions as well.
Yeah, the University of Georgia, we will not be doing in-person tours for at least the rest of the year, but we have some wonderful virtual campus visit experiences, and that involves, those are live campus visits, virtual, and that's one of our members of the admissions staff is going to walk you through the admissions process and the information about our school and what we do in admissions and academic review. Then a couple of our tour guides are going to walk you through campus virtually, talk about that, and then save time for a question and answer, much like this at the end, to answer any questions you would have, much like we did a in-person tour. But it will be virtual for at least the end of this year, and we aren't sure when we'll be back in person doing live tours again.
And also, I'll just add, make sure to look at your high schools. A lot of us may be visiting your high schools. Check your emails, because we're going to be communicating with you a lot by email. And also, follow us on social media. A lot of us are putting a lot on social media, and that can kind of give you a better feel for our campuses. Really any schools that you're looking at applying to. So you might not have the chance to visit in person, but there are a lot more opportunities out there for all schools so that you can get to know us better. So I know we're getting close on time, but any other questions that you have for us?
I will just echo, I appreciate the high school visit comment. I know a lot of us spent all day visiting some of your high schools today. Between this group, we're going to blanket a lot of them. So it is a good chance to connect with us more one-on-one than this.
Well, on behalf of all of the panelists, thank you guys so much for coming to learn more about our land-grant institutions that are in the South. We hope that you will consider us. as you're going through your college search journey. We're all accessible if you have any questions or need anything. We'd love to see your applications come across our desk, or love for you to visit campus. But thank you so much for taking time out of your evening tonight to be with us.
And just real quick, I've got to go through the spiel. Just on behalf of VACRAO, everyone, thanks for joining us. Students, when you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. This was just one of many sessions being hosted. Be sure to sign up for additional sessions at strivescan.com/Virginia. This session was recorded. You'll be able to find it in about a week at that same website as well. And check all these schools out. They're all really great. They're peer institutions for myself, and can recommend them all highly. So give them a look on the website, and hope you all enjoyed the session today. Thanks, everyone.
Good job, guys. Thank you. Are you leaving?
Wait.
I think there's still one student in here. There's another question. Oh, thank you. All right. Well, good job, guys. Thank you.